All white boy.
I ain't got that, man.
Well, I didn't have that either. When I was going through chemo, I didn't have that. I had no hair going through chemo, man. And I had no eyebrows. Little kids was like, what the hell is wrong with him? You ever see a little kid look at you and do a double take? A 3-year-old did a double take on me, like, what? Mom, he ain't got this. What's this? He ain't got this.
Eyebrows or nothing.
Nothing.
Like nothing. What's that thing called?
Straight pervert.
Disease called. That's a disease like that, where the guys have
alopecia.
Alopecia. Yeah, I knew the word, but I was like, is that the word? I didn't want to say the wrong word.
Yeah. Straight alopecia. But nah, my joint was crazy though, man. Like you, if I had a white man, I got locked up every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna start the show, man. Today's show's about dads. Hey, how is everybody doing? What's up, Cheryl? What's up, Eric? Yeah, and what are we gonna do? What was it again? It was
dads, right?
Dads. Yo, I'm gonna talk about my dad for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Being that I never met him, you know, my experience growing up was like, you know, I always wondered if I bump into him, you know what I'm saying? Would I recognize him? Because I never saw him, never met him. Would I, as a child, have this power of recognition just because we had the same gene pool, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah, when I was young, I had a lot of different thoughts about my father, but my mom pretty much gave me the one thought, you know, my mom, you know, nothing against my mom, but, you know, he was abusive to my mom, you know what I mean? So she used to talk about that sometimes, and I used to be like, hey, you know, I didn't know what to think. You know what I mean?
How about, do you think it was all bad, or did you even ask for any pictures or anything like that?
We ain't really had nothing of them. You know what I'm saying? So, it's pretty much all bad. She said he was a nice guy when he first met her, and they was fine, you know, but then he started doing drugs and turned and started acting real crazy, you know what I'm saying? And that's when he became abusive. You know what I mean? And I look, he abused my mom, period. That's nothing I can't take that away from her. You know, that's a real thing. But one of the things my mom used to say to me, right? I was telling my baby the other day, today, in fact, I was telling her today. She used to be like, you know what, for a person that never met your father, you exactly like him. Like, exactly. Like, you know, all your mannerisms, the way you talk and the way you use your words, just like him. And then she would go to, yeah, but he used to beat my butt, yo. I had to get rid of I just be like, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to take that information, you know what I mean? But here's my conclusion to that. If he was like me, then there had to be some good in it. You know what I'm saying? There had to be some type of good in it. Maybe he was a mean person, but I'm sure there had to be some good in it, because I should really be a mean person the life I had to live, but I'm not. So, you know, if he had any type of personality like mine, I'm sure there was some good in it. So I don't get too deep into that. You know what I mean? I wish I would have got to know him. I waited too late to look for him. And by the time I saw his family, he was gone. Like, yeah, I looked for him and he had died a year before. And so I never really knew a father. I just, and I never looked at anybody like they were my father either. You know what I mean? So there was never a man where I was like, he my dad. Nope, never, none of that. It was more, you know, mom, us, you know, and the school. You know what I mean? That was my fam, you know what I mean? So I have mixed feelings about that, you know. I never became a father myself. I got mixed feelings about that too, but to be real honest, I probably wouldn't have made a good father. I mean, my fathering years, I was a drug addict. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm blessed not to have abused or did something horrible in my life that would make a child maybe a murderer, or, you know what I'm saying, out on the streets doing whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. But the funny thing is, I always wanted kids. I always wanted kids. I always wanted like a lot of them. And I was like, so when I was around my nephews and nieces, that's who I was. I was Uncle Bubba. You know what I mean? I was the fun uncle. You know what I mean? And I liked that. I enjoyed being Uncle Bubba. But parents are crazy. You know what I'm saying? Parents are crazy. Parents get jealous. I never knew that a parent could be jealous of a friend's relationship with their kid. You know what I mean? And that's when the weird questions start. And I was like, you know what? Fuck them kids, yo. I'm all right. I'm gonna just live my life. Yeah, I ain't gotta be a part of your fucked up town. But anyway, I just moved on. So I can't really talk on this subject because all I could talk off is a lack of fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? But I know everybody here had a father. I had one, I just didn't know him. So if anybody else want to talk about their experience, listen, this ain't about sad sob story stuff and all that. It's just about you and what you know about a father or a father figure in your life. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you feel like talking about, just feel free. Who wants to go?
I'll go.
All right, Rob. Sorry, baby.
I jumped in early just to make sure I could get in and get out early because I got some stuff to do a little bit later. This is a sad story. Sorry, everybody, but I did know my father. My parents were married. They were married late. I always thought that like they got married first and then had me. Come to find out, they were like 8 years in. Did they finally get married? My dad was in his 40s by the time he had me, so I realized I was a mistake. But my dad was not abusive to my mom, but he just was abusive to me and my sister, who we had from a previous relationship. If anybody knows that, most of us of a certain age remember that song, My Name is Luca, about the abused child that lives upstairs. Like I was that abused kid, like physically.
Like flowers in the attic abuse?
I punched, held over the stove, threatened, threatened with murder, all that type of stuff. And see, it's so funny, like, see, my parents had separate houses because my father had a previous, and so did my mother. Like I have 3 older brothers that was from my mother's previous marriage and stuff like that. So my dad got to do all these things outside of my mother even knowing about it. And I never ran back to my mom to tell her, because when you were a kid and you're getting beat, you just normalize it as like, I guess I'm supposed to get beat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she didn't realize like the stuff that was being done to me. And so I just chalked it up as being, this normal, so it's like, I did not have a good relationship with my dad. The memories I have of, he passed in 98, a year before I got married in 99. He only got to meet my mom. I'm sorry. He only met my wife one time before the wedding and stuff like that. And it's probably good that he didn't live long enough to make my wedding, because by that point our families had separated and he had threatened my mom, and my mom ended up moving out and all that type of stuff. So anyway, I don't have like the stories later on you guys are going to share, assuming you have good relationships with your father. I don't have that. I mean, yes, if he had it, I had it in regards to him being a provider. Whatever I needed, if he had it on him at the time, he definitely makes sure, if I needed a coat, if I needed shoes, I needed whatever. He paid for some of my college courses. He stepped up when he needed to, but that doesn't take away from the mental stuff. That doesn't take away from the physical stuff. And I mean, my sister got worst of it because she was older than me, and she was by herself. Versus even by the time I came along with my mother, again, he was able to do his dirt without, the rest of my family even having any knowledge of it whatsoever. So, the only way I chose to fix the things he did was to correct it when I had kids myself. I have 3 kids, 2 sons and a daughter. Um, and you know, they will never see the type of person that my father was to me in regards to like that level of treatment. Now, has it scarred me for life? Absolutely. Like, is I can, raise my kids right. I can never touch my kids. I can never say mean things or whatever like that. But you could be almost 50 and still suffer from the mental trauma of the stuff that you went through. Now, before I go off too long, it took me years to find out why my dad was the way he was. I didn't find out till later on that he had a strange relationship with his dad, who basically wouldn't even would see him on the street and wouldn't even acknowledge him because my dad was a product of a jump off. So when his dad would run up to him on the street, when he ran up to his dad on the street, he like, Dad. His dad like, yo, slow down, man. Don't be calling me that out here. So, like I said, that doesn't give him a right to be a crappy dad to me and my sister. But I'm thinking it probably caused some issues within him that later on in life, caused him to be a messed up dad himself. And Aaron, I'm gonna disagree with you one thing in regards to you saying you might have messed up your kids if you had kids. Because of the problems you had. That's not necessarily true, because sometimes, a kid can, they can see the faults of their dad and make sure that, yes, it hurts. Don't get me wrong, what I'm saying? But at the same time, sometimes it's a learning experience for that kid so that they make sure like, all right, I love my dad and I know what my dad is or what my dad's shortcomings are. I'll just make sure, that I don't make them same mistakes that my dad did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I try to fix the mistakes that my dad, the issues, his shortcomings, all that type of stuff. I try to fix those things in myself that even when I find myself tripping, I was like, you know what? You're going down that same path, your anger issues and all this other type of stuff. It's like, I definitely think that there was some sort of, I found that his father, his dad had some issues as well with anger and stuff like that. So it seems to be almost through like a genetic sort of thing. And so, was I jealous of my other friends who had normal father-son relationships? Absolutely. My other friends, their dads would come in and play with their sons and take them to play basketball and, high fives. Me and my daddy do none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? We ain't hug. We ain't shake hands. We ain't do none of the traditional bonding. He lived in the house, but we just weren't. I think I may have told my dad I loved him maybe one time, or maybe even called him dad one time. And, I know he loved me. So I'm not coming across like, he'd step in from a hail of gunfire to protect me if something were to go down, but he did not communicate love and affection the way, the traditional way the nurture way a father is supposed to, deal with the ones that they love. So, he would have loved my kids, he would have loved my wife, but unfortunately, life chose differently, and like I said, he passed when I was about 24 years old. And it could have been, who knows what it could have been if things could have gotten better early on. But yeah, no great memories. Yeah, we went on trips as a family, did all this cool stuff, Virginia and stuff, but unfortunately, when you think about the negative versus the positives is like I see myself on camera to see where my hand is at. All right, the positives are like down here, where the negatives are like way up there, because that's all you think about. All you think about is the trauma and stuff like that. So who cares if you had a nice birthday? Who cares if you got, a nice gift or whatever like that? All you can remember is all the negative stuff that he left you with. So again, I could go on for your whole meeting, so I'm gonna pass it.
All right. Thanks for sharing, man. I appreciate that, man. Look, man, we all got our own fathers. We all got our problems with our fathers and our happy moments with our fathers. You know what I mean? If we got to see our fathers, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you something. I did have happy moments thinking about my father from time to time, because when my mom would say certain traits that I had, I was very proud to have those traits, yo. You know what I mean? Like the quietness and the way I thought, and I felt like I was blessed with those traits from my dad. When she said that I was just like him, I felt like, you know what I'm saying, I was given something. Even I might not be giving him, but I was given something, you know what I'm saying, just through the DNA that I love that I had. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird, but I just try to always remember that everything ain't bad, right? You know what I'm saying? My childhood wasn't great, but there were like moments, crazy happy moments, like that I wouldn't have had if I didn't have that childhood. You know what I mean? So I try to remember the good stuff too. I try to amplify that, because the bad stuff is always amplified. It's right here, man. It's shouting all day, all night. I remember I used to I couldn't wake up or go to sleep without all the depression stuff and all the crazy in my face and in my head. But there were moments where all that was gone. You know what I mean? So, I try to remember that I was lucky enough to grow up and become 53. So now I can think back and fix some of the things that were broken from my parents, or wherever it came from back then. I could fix the way I want my life to be and the character that I want now. You know what I'm saying? So I try to think of everything as a blessing, man. Everything's a blessing.
Let me add one more part, just for like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Your point is valid, and I would love to think back that way, but here's the problem. Like I said, he passed in 98, and our last face-to-face was a drag-out argument. He was in the hospital, he was acting a fool, and arguing with the doctors, and cursing my sister out, which upset him. Which upset my sister. So I let like 24 years of, and didn't disrespect him, because he's, as much as we had beef, he was still my dad, but I kind of let some stuff out. And I went home in peace, and he ended up passing away a couple of days later. And that many years later, I would say for the first 20 years after his passing, I would have a dream once a month, once every couple of months, whatever, and we were always fighting. And so sometimes the fights will end in gunplay, and over time, it's like, all right, the dreams would start off of us having a good father-son relationship. We're talking, having like stuff we didn't do in life, having a good conversation, and all of a sudden he would say something, and I'd be like, oh, this motherfucker ain't just, and the next thing you know, we fighting, and next thing you know, we pulling the things out. Like, all of our dreams turn into nightmares, because I think he just shot me. Like we going at it, and all I can think about is that's what lifetime of trauma does to you. Like it enters your sleep state, and straight up have you going to war with this man that, like I said, I love my father, but like I said, it just shows you how much emotional trauma can still bring you back at that moment. So even if the dream started off cool and y'all having a good time and hee ha ha, the next, what you just say? Like, I know you ain't about to, and now you're rumbling. My father's in his late 60s when he passed, and I was in my 20s, and I'm like trying to give him some work because he was a big man. And like, that's the legacy, you know what I'm saying? That's the legacy that my pop left me with. It's just argumentative and hateful and mean-spirited, and what it is, man. Sorry.
I can understand it. I could give a fuck about him. I ain't like that motherfucker. Fuck him. That's how I feel about it. My father, he never came to see us. He knew who we were. He ain't never give a fuck. So fuck him. But I was never gonna be like him when I had my kid. I was always gonna be around, and that's how I feel about him. I don't feel no love for that man whatsoever. Fuck him. I don't miss him. I can't miss nobody. They've never been around anyway. So, Mom said he came to family court. Me and Aaron still argue whether it's him or not. So
that wasn't that nigga, man. Come on, man. He is bright. He's bright light. That nigga was bright light. We dark as hell. I saw a picture of him. He's dark like us. Boy, no. Not his ass.
Nah, that nigga, fuck him. He wasn't shit. So
that was me. I was trying to claim y'all, but y'all wouldn't have it. So I was trying to put y'all on my income tax.
Just for that tax write-off.
We keep you around for punishment, nigga.
That's how I feel. So I could give a care. I don't have no dreams about him or nothing. So I don't nothing. So just fuck him. That's what I always said. He wasn't shit. I don't give a fuck about him. So I just made sure I was good to my daughter. I saw her all the time. Even when my ex-wife, her mom, tried to stop me from seeing her, like just fucking around and saying she got to do her hair or whatever. Then I said, all right, fuck it. Then that's when I went to court and I made sure I got her every other weekend, and I made sure I got her at the police station because it was always some drama. So I always fought to see my kids. So my daughter knows who her dad is. You know what I mean? I made sure of that. You know, and she had a loving father and stuff. So nothing like so.
What was it like, Oz? Because I don't know what it's like to be a dad, right? For real. What was it like being her dad, yo?
It was great. Jasmine was a good kid. You know what I mean? I remember when she was like 2, I came home from work. I was tired, and I remember she ran from all the way from the kitchen. You know how wide my house was. You know, she came all the way from the kitchen. Daddy's home, and ran and busted my knees up, yo. She was hugging me. My knees hurt. So every day after that, man, I had to start picking her up, man, because she would just run all the way from the kitchen. That was like the greatest thing ever. I ain't gonna lie. That was like the greatest thing ever. And I just said to myself, like, you know what? This is how Dad should have been with us. You know what I mean? Even if he went to Hershey, he could have still saw us or whatever. And I was just like, this is the greatest feeling in the world. So, you know, I don't. There's just no excuse for that for me. I just can't see it. You know what I mean? So, fuck that. Fuck him. That's all I just say. Fuck him. I know better, so I could care less about him. You know what I mean? And when that nigga died, he still ain't leaving shit. So,
he's a drug addict. He wasn't going to leave a shit when he lived.
You know what I mean?
Hey, Andre, at least it wasn't this bad. My father used to have life insurance, but check it out. He had life insurance on his kids, me and my sister, instead of on himself. So if something would have happened to me and my sister, he'd have got a check. When he died, he left us nothing, and guess who ended up paying for his funeral?
Who?
Me.
Shit, that wouldn't have been me. State would have just took his fucked up body somewhere. I would never pay for that nigga for nothing. Nope.
Like it was, you know, small funeral home, you know, nothing fancy, but it was. It was what it was.
He's a better son because the state would have took his dirty ass. I wouldn't have paid that. Not a penny would have came out of my pocket. Fuck him. That's how I feel about that shit, for real.
I think we know exactly how you feel about it. There's no doubt, yo. But mom never said that you act just like your daddy. So we got a different thing going on.
Yeah, we do.
But you know what? I love you anyway, dog, because I understand the hate. I get it. I get it 100%. You know what I mean? But, you know, at least one of us, he had 2, so one got to show love while the other one stay in the hate, man. You know, it's all good. It's all good.
It's good. Yeah, it's all good.
Yo, who want to go next? I'm cutting Andre off because Andre,
I'm done talking.
Hey, Carm, you want to go?
My story's not a happy story. So, you know, my dad abandoned me and my 2 blood brothers when I was 3. The part that bothered me is my family didn't talk much, and you know, everything's top secret. The little bit of family I had, But I found out that he became a minister at the United Methodist Church. So I had no problem that he, you know, his story with his new wife, how that came about. I mean, I didn't have a problem, but I heard he was a very good minister and he retired and he counseled a lot of people in marriages and raising kids. And he never practiced what he preached. That's a fact. But he would do these drive-by visits. I'll give you, when I was I think I was in first grade in the Catholic school in Puerto Rico. The nun told me to go downstairs. I go downstairs and said, "This is your dad, Dennis Morales, Reverend Dennis Morales." I was so confused. I'm like, honestly, I didn't give a who he was. It was awkward to me, you know. So what am I saying? It's like he liked the grand interest of attention, and that was enough for him. So that was when I was like 6. And then when I was a teenager, my mom wanted to drop me off. I don't know what anger problems they were feuding, and had me raised. And I showed up. She drove from Pennsylvania to, I think he was in Illinois, and tried to drop me off at his doorstep. He goes, "Wherever you came from, that's the door you need to come back out of and go back to Pennsylvania." So that was LOV from him. And then I crave his love. He's a very handsome guy. But what was the awkward situation when I had brain surgery in 2012? I was attending this church, and it was a United Methodist church. And I don't know, they were asking me questions about my last name. And one of the ladies says, you know, she's a minister. She says, "You know, I studied with the Dennis Morales." And I said, "Oh no." So I pulled her aside. I said, "Listen, if it's my dad, Reverend Dennis Morales," and it was, "don't tell nobody here I come from that, please. I don't want to be looked at or favored because I'm his, you know, he was my, you know, I'm his DNA. I want to be here." Yeah, sperm donor. So just don't release that, okay? But he is my father. And then, so in 2012, when I had 2 brain surgeries, I think my mom contacted him because, you know, he was never to be found. And he never picked us up, or he never looked for us like that. He would look for me. I don't know if it was from his heart or my mom chasing to shove me down his throat for a relationship. So in 2012, he found out I had brain surgery, so he calls me up. And his famous thing, you know, he sounds very professional on the phone. And, "Hey, Carmen Denise, we have you in prayer over here," and all that. And after 3 weeks of that good juice, you know, I really had to put it to him and say, "Listen, I got to tell you something. Yeah, I haven't heard from you in 10 years. You know, I don't know why you're looking for me now. You know, why haven't you looked for me all these years after I turned 18? And he says, "Because of your mother." And I just had to say it to him. I said, "You know, you can't put my mom in this. I have a family already. I have, you know, I have my own life. It has my mom. Don't put my mom in this thing. I'm a grown person." And I said, "Don't waste your time anymore." But I gotta say, I always crave the love of a father. And so I'm honored to see, I have my 2 son-in-laws are really good with their babies. So that I'm honored to watch that through, how they scream for their dad, how they talk about their dad. And, you know, I see my granddaughter, she's crazy about her dad, you know, and I'm just honored to watch that because I didn't experience that. So I get to see it the other side. And at least I get to see my 2 son-in-laws that are actively with their boys and their girls.
Okay, that's what's up.
Thank you.
Okay, you know, when you told me about your father being all this big, I wonder. Sometimes I wonder how many of us are walking around with successful fathers. You know what I'm saying? That we don't even know who their fathers really are. You know. So you know, thanks for sharing, Carm. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. I'm gonna ask someone else to share if they want to. Who wants to go next? Did you say something? Did you say you wanted to go, Eric?
Come on, light skins, don't be scared.
Shut your face, man. Shut your face. Wow, I don't even know where to start with my dad. So come to find out that there is 18 of us. And 15 out of the 18 were all about 3 or 4 months apart. So I literally have a brother that's, I think he's 10 days younger than I am. I have a sister that's born in April right before me. 2 sisters born in April. So yeah, most of us were just sperm donor babies. So I'm just actually finding out about some of the sisters and brothers that I actually have. Just trying to, Facebook them, getting to learn and know them. And yeah, so he was an MIA. So I'm not sure if he knew I was in Hershey, not sure if he knew about me, but I just found out recently that he did know about and take care of most of his kids, which literally made me feel some type of way because I feel like he never reached out to find me or my younger brother. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know how to feel about it. He passed away about 7 or 8 years ago. And during that time, like for me, my feeling was that he was never in my life, so I really didn't care. But I guess the older I get, the more I get into my fatherhood, like the more questions I have, especially like if I go to a doctor and they're like, well, tell me about your dad's history. I'm like, I don't know. I only got one side of it. I don't know anything about my dad. He died. That's all I know. So yeah, so like I'm still trying to get to know my brothers and sisters, being 51. I'm upset because 2 of them passed away. So I never had the opportunity to even get to know them or meet them at all. Still trying to get to the other ones before they pass away or they leave the earth, But honestly, all in all, all those issues, like it made me be a better father. Because I keep my children close, make sure they know who I am, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. Very, communicative with them. Always talk to them about how they feel to let them know, to make sure that I'm here for them. And I'm not going to ever be an absent dad. So that's the one thing I can say he taught me. That's the biggest lesson I can say, which is funny because I was just realizing the other day that when I found out that I was going to be a father, how I found out was she said, I have something inside of me that's going to be a part of us that we will love together forever. Mm-hmm. And I was like 17, 18. It took me a minute to figure it out. I was like, oh, I'm going to be a dad. But that was a special way. And like, that's something that I'll always remember forever. So when I see my oldest son and I see him, I still get that feeling of how happy I was to be a dad. And like I told him, the moment he came out, I would never leave your side. I would never, ever leave your side. So again, like, even all bad experiences, even though I didn't know him, but it taught me to be a better father myself. So
that's what's up.
How does it feel to be a father?
Hold on,
how does it feel to be a father?
It's great. I mean, it's a good experience, especially all 3 of my children bring so many different dynamics to my life. The fact that Kelly walked in my shoes, he looks just like me. He acts just like me. It's just like reliving my whole childhood again with him. Eric has always been my special child. He's go-getter. He has his own company now. My firstborn, my special one. And of course, my only girl, she's my special one as well because she's my only daughter. And just to know that my 2 boys protect her and make sure that she's okay. And I think lately what's really been getting to me is really good for me is that my children are really starting to check on my mom. Like they're making sure that she has food, they're making sure that she goes to the store, making sure that she goes shopping. So that really makes me feel special knowing that I did my job.
Sometimes the absence of a father is more of a blessing than to have that father in the room. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen and heard some stories, man, about fathers. So crazy, abusive, insane stories. Sometimes I think that some of these absent fathers are a blessing that they're absent, man.
Mm-hmm. Can I share? I have to share one thing.
Go ahead.
So I was when I was training in United Airlines. He lived in Chicago, so I was So I went to, he said, oh, Tata, come by, which, you know, and so I went by and spent the weekend. But nobody knew he had another family.
What?
Hello?
You there?
Yeah, we here. So
okay.
what happens, I felt some type of way, like my dad preaches really well. He's a great Grammy Award winning preacher, you know?
Cool.
So, you know how normally you would say, hey, my daughter Carmen Morales is here visiting from out of town. Well, I didn't get that, but you know, maybe, you know, I never, whatever. So at the end of the visit, I lined up because all these people were like, oh, you're new, and you first time. I said, yeah, I'm his daughter. I'm Carmen Morales. I'm his daughter. And nobody knew about me and his other two kids. So, you know, I was young and I was blasting my name out there. Yeah, he has 3 more kids, blah, 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 for his marriage. But it hurt. So I just want to add that.
No, that hurt.
Yeah, my dad was married. He had 5 kids in his marriage, and the rest of us were all just extra. Like we were just extra, and it was crazy to find out that he was actually married and in a relationship, but still had all these children. And you know, I gotta give it to my mom. She's really honest. You know, my dad was a cop, so he was able to get around the projects and do what he needed to do to maneuver well. And you know, she said she was like, Jason, I don't know what you're looking for. I can't really tell you, you know, what you want here. She said the reality is that he was cute. I thought he was cute. We were drinking. We went home. Here you are. No relationship, no nothing. I didn't want to be with him. I kind of liked him. He was cute that night. He was really good that night, and that was it. So she was like, whatever you're looking for, I can't help you find it. You gotta find it yourself. So that's why I've been trying to really get with my biological brothers and sisters just to learn more about him. Just to get some ideas on who I am, where I came from, through them, because of course I can't get it through him anymore. He has 1 living brother, but I can't get in touch with him. So like I have no idea about my family history of knowing that I may have potential 18 of us out there. So I guess that's the only weird thing for me right now.
I ain't good. I didn't know all that was going on with you, brother.
Yeah, me neither, homie.
No.
Well, I'm very private with that prayer life, but you know, you guys know a lot more than a lot of other people, of course, because y'all are like my actual brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? You're the ones I grew up with since 2nd grade, 5th grade, whatever. But yeah, as far as that part, like I really don't talk about it a lot because I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Like I'm still trying to put together a lot of pieces from it.
Yeah, it's not like trying to put your family history together when you actually still, you know, don't even have all the pieces of the puzzle around. You know what I mean? It's kind of tough. I didn't even bother with my family. I just, my father's family. Once I saw them and talked to them, I was like, I already got a family, and I already got a family of problems. You know, I just didn't feel like. I didn't feel like taking on another family of problems. You know what I mean?
Like foreigners to me.
Say it again?
They just seem like foreigners to me. So
yeah, they were strangers. They
were
strangers. So I didn't care. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I didn't dismiss them. I just didn't care to have a. I wasn't used to having a family anyway. You understand what I'm saying? So I just didn't feel the need to like kind of pull them into like the confusion I already had, because I could see just by visiting them that there was confusion. You know what I'm saying? That there were things, and I was like, nah, I don't. I already got enough shit going on just from my side of the family that I grew up with. That I, you know. To have to deal with them and then find out all the crazy shit that caused him to be who he is, I just didn't want to be a part of that. You know what I mean?
I just lost contact over time. That's what, because I used to call, I think Vivian. I used to call her, but then over time, I just I don't know. I just didn't feel like I get close to them at all. So it
didn't feel genuine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It didn't feel like they were like people who got close anyway. And I didn't feel like making a whole other effort that I did when I graduated, trying to get to know a family that I had no idea who. It was hard enough to get the family that knew me to fuck with me, but to get this family that I had no idea to mess with, you know what I'm saying? I gotta discover stuff, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then I'm gonna discover all kinds of crazy secrets and no, I'm cool, man. I already had enough. I had enough crazy family stuff, so I just wanted to be with my crazy family I already knew. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you why it's important to me now. A little while ago, my brother was in school, and there was a girl in his class, and he kept saying she's really pretty, but she looks very familiar. Ended up being one of our sisters. So it's important to me because I don't want to have to break the bad news to one of my sons or my daughter saying, that might be your uncle. That might be your cousin. You know what I mean? So trying to get to learn their family and hopefully they can learn more about their family and end this craziness,
Well, you light-skinned people like the big light-skinned people. So, yeah. This is my opportunity of crossbreeding going on, baby.
Yeah, well, Jasmine asked me about our dad, Aaron, and his son. Yeah, so I was thinking eventually I'm gonna have to go and find them and talk to them eventually.
People.
Yeah, they're probably all dead. Who knows, the older ones? They got to be around mom's age by now.
Oh yeah, they definitely mom's age. They were old when we met them.
They
probably all gone. Who knows? We just gotta deal with them kids. Them kids didn't look right, yo. I wasn't fucking with them kids, yo.
I don't remember the kids. The only thing I remember is the adults. Just the adults. Only remember just the adults.
I like everybody. Look. I was already on drugs. I saw some drug addicts in the room. I was like, nope, I don't mind visiting a trap house. I don't want to know the dude running it, yo. I don't want to know that. Do we have anybody else want to talk on their dad, or their dad experience or their experience being a dad? You know what I'm saying? Anybody?
I'll say something because I'm the new father thing and the youngest person in here. What's up, everybody?
What's going on, y'all?
What's up, Lindell?
Going on with y'all. So me being the father, that was the biggest achievement that happened to me. Me being the father over graduating high school, being the dad is like the best thing that ever happened. So,
you gotta sit somewhere, bro, because you breaking up. I can't see or hear you.
The sound situation. I'm breaking up.
Yeah.
Even now.
Stay in one place.
Yeah, stay in one place. Right. That's good, bro.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me and see me?
Yeah.
All the beauty.
So being a father was. So being a father was the best thing for me. It changed my way of thinking a whole lot, and going through the stuff that I went through with my mother and the people that she kept me from. My whole goal is not to do that for my child, not to raise my child the same way that I was raised, basically, with the mental and the physical abuse stuff. Don knows about it. Chrissy knows about it. So y'all know about it.
Yeah, we know.
So me being a father, that's something that I was pretty much happy. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a shocker. I ain't expected, but I was happy about it because that means I had something to live for, something to fight for, something to continue to fight, continue to live, continue to do the best that I could do to make their life a little bit easier. So,
something bigger than yourself, right? Something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, so that's for me. Now, my father, we all know he was a player. He had his first wife messing around, no telling with how many wasn't, including my mama. And that was an accident. That's what's popped up. You know, but I never really had a bad time with him. Never really had a bad time with him. He pretty much would chill, laid back, discipline you if he needs to discipline you. But otherwise than that, my father was pretty much cool. He pretty much good. He took care of his kids, took care of his responsibilities. And I pretty much, like, when I was with my dad, I pretty much was having the blast. I was away from the drama. I was away from the headaches, the disrespect, the name callings. I was away from all that. I was like free. So
you got to live in
I never really had
right?
Yeah, I know. I met some of my cousins because he's the fourth oldest out of 13 siblings. Him being like the third. So I met some of my cousins that's down Louisiana. I still don't know them, so but I know that they're down Louisiana. I know if I see something Jordan and I see some of my relatives, I know that that's either my cousin or so. But otherwise than that, I really don't know them like that because only people that I interact is my siblings and their kids. Only people on my dad's side that I interact is my siblings, mom, Rose, and my siblings and their children. And the two cousins that I actually know, my two older cousins. Well, one of them passed away, but the two, them and their kids. That's the only people that I actually know. Like no. But everybody else.
Okay, bro.
All right, bro. Yeah. But hey, life is going on though. You know what I'm saying? We can't. I try not to dwell on the things I don't have like I used to.
Yeah.
But because it don't solve shit. You know what I'm saying? I realized that all I was doing was pretty much dialing in, like being one of those statistics. You know what I'm saying? Like all I was doing, I wasn't giving myself anything. I was taken away from me from the dwelling. You know what I'm saying? Oh, if only, you know what I'm saying? All that if only shit. That ain't real life, yo.
Mm-hmm.
This is real life. You know what I'm saying? This is real life. And I think that the moment I was able to accept it, I was able to accept myself. You know what I mean? Like the moment I was like, this is my life, this is how it really is, all that TV wishing stuff, that ain't real life. That's TV. This is real life, yo. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that I can speak for myself. A lot of the problems I probably had with my family is not really with my family. It's with what I was shown a family should be. You know what I mean? Like we used to watch TV and they would show us these wonderful, beautiful white families, man. You know what I'm saying? And then Bill Cosby came with that beautiful family. It was just wonderful. But in real life, look at Bill Cosby now. In real life. You know what I'm saying? That shit was bullshit, man. It was bullshit. Real life ain't like that.
Real life, he's a predator. Real life ain't like none of those TV shows.
And I feel like that ruins a lot of lives more than anything. That TV shit, that ruins more lives than anything because you can't even face your own real life. You know what I mean? You think you're missing something, you're not. Shit, 80% of black people are born out of wedlock, yo.
Yeah.
That is real life. That TV shit, that wasn't my life. That's not where I came from, yo. And you know what? It wasn't theirs either. You know what I'm saying? So
shows. That don't finish on Brady Bunch.
Brady
Bunch, all that baby crap.
All the great dads, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. They're all good dads. They're all good dads. But I'm just saying, like, the fairy tale of dad was the problem.
The only TV show that taught me about life more was Married with Children. That taught me about how life is.
That silly shit was more close to life than that bullshit that they were showing us, man.
And that's why I was watching it constantly. So I was like, damn, that's how life is for it
was one of the most famous shows at the time. It was the most famous show for a long time.
Yeah, along with Good Times.
Yeah.
That's also took you about life.
Yo, does anyone else want to talk about their dad experience, whether they were a good dad, or what they come from, or you know what I'm saying? You can raise your hand. I will pick you, or we will just keep on moving. We're almost at the hour. I see Yusuf is here.
Come on, Yusuf.
I want to say one
Come on, cuz.
All right, hold on, y'all. I love all y'all, right? But my baby want to say something about her dad, y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
It's on you. I mean, come on.
I had a really good dad. My dad was in my life up until he passed in 2016. Me and my sister, I could just remember my dad taking us to Maryland every summer, hanging out with him and his people. And I knew all my uncles and my cousins, my grandparents on that side, you know, but my dad, even in all that, my dad was an alcoholic. He drank really bad when he got up in age. You know, I didn't know that he was an alcoholic. I just thought everything was, you know, good. I guess he never showed that side. And then when we got older, it was like, what's going on with you? You know, and to find out that he was an alcoholic, that I was so hurt. Because I always felt like I could talk to my dad and he would share a lot with us. But then I realized, why would he share with us that he's an alcoholic? We were very close and we had so many good times together. He was that awesome pop to my children. And when he got up in his age and he passed in his sleep, it was very, you know, his liver was shot, but they said it was natural causes. But it was very like painful to just, because he was coming over. He was in my life as an adult. It was on Sundays, Dad, you coming for dinner? He would come over for dinner. And one week he was there. And then the next weekend you getting a call saying he just didn't wake up. And it was like so unreal to me, because I just thought even in his alcohol, even him being an alcoholic, I felt like my dad was like Superman. He could do anything. He could fix anything. You going through something, he would call me, and him talking to me, it was like he would fix it if I didn't feel well. I would go to his house and lay in his bed and felt like I was healed. And that's how close my dad and I was. And I was so hurt to find out he was an alcoholic. I really was. To the point where my dad was alcoholic so bad that he would put his alcohol in a baby's bottle. And the baby bottle would be in the car. So if he ever got stopped by the police, they would think it's just probably apple juice in the baby's bottle on the floor of the car. And I'm like, well, what is this? And me being a jealous little, because I'm the baby, I said, well, Dad, you got another child? Like, you got a child? And he had to literally tell me what it was. And my heart was so broken, because I was like, not my dad. You know, my dad was that dad that came to the school. He was that dad that he took my side. No matter what the teacher said, my dad was on. He had my back. He said, well, let me hear what my daughter got to say first before we, my dad was just, I had sons, and he was like the awesome pop-pop. Like my boys, pop-pop this, pop-pop that. And they would just, he just spoiled my daughter. And I just, a part of me, my mom is still with us. My dad passed in 2016, and a part of me felt like I was born on my dad's birthday. So every year on my birthday, I really get a little down. As happy as I am, I get a little down because my dad we always celebrated our birthdays together, no matter where we was at in life. If he was in Maryland, when it came down to our birthday, he came back, or I went to Maryland to see him, or we just would have a birthday dinner, share a cupcake or whatever. And it was just so, I really, I was just thank God that, my dad was in my life like that. Him and my mom didn't get along. They didn't get along at all, but, she didn't keep us from him. And I was glad of that, in spite of they probably couldn't sit in the same room together, but she never kept us from him. She allowed him to take us, and we would go away with him, and he took us on trips. And, he had female friends, but he didn't let them get involved with us. It was like, I got my daughters this week, so you can come over, and it was always about us. And I can just, I'm glad I was a daddy's girl. I just felt like when he passed away, a part of me just went right with him. And, that's my story about my dad. My dad was a good dad.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, we needed a good story. Shit.
Yeah, I got one more thing about being a dad though. Well, two things. One, I remember coming back from Desert Storm. Jasmine was born already, so they wouldn't let me come back early. And I remember going to see her, and I was wondering what she was going to look like and everything. And I finally saw her, and I remember I was just so happy. Jasmine had these big old cheeks. She looked like a chipmunk. Looked like a straight up chipmunk with nuts full in their mouth. You know what I mean? Her cheeks were so far out, man. It was crazy looking. I was like, oh, she did look like a chipmunk. I was just laughing. And I used to fly her around the room when I used to come off of work late and stuff like that. And she'd be all smiling and stuff. So you remember those type of little things. But then I used to get tired because she wanted to fly a little longer each night I came in. And no matter what time I came in, it'd be 2 or 3 in the morning. She would, as soon as I would lay down quiet, she would lift her head up. She just knew I was in the room, but I had to pick her up and just fly around for a little while. But I think God made me have a girl first instead of a boy, because my way of thinking was different. Because when I was at work, and I remember this guy got in an argument, and he actually revved the van about like 20 feet and hit me. And I flew like 10 or 15 feet in the air and hit the containers. And I got up and I said, I'm going to kill him. He's going to die. His mother tried to kill him. I'm going to kill him. He's going to die. And as I'm walking to him, like, because he got out, he stayed in the van first. I said, get out the van. And he just stayed in the van, and then he got out. And that's when some of the guys grabbed me, and I pushed him to the side. I said, I'm going to kill him. And then the first thought that came to my head was Jasmine, my daughter. I was like, who's going to take care of her if I go to jail for killing her? I said, but it should be legit because he just did hit me with the van. I'm just taking it as I'm walking, I'm contemplating everything, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm just going to kill this dude. And then I had to think about it. I was like, well, I can't leave her with just her mom. So, because she's crazy. So I was like, I gotta take care of my daughter. And that happened. And another incident happened. And the first thing I thought about was her too, because I was going to kill this other person who just did some real crazy stuff, you know what I mean? Like the first one, you know what I mean? And the second thing came to me, get my daughter, because I said if I'd have had a son, I wouldn't have thought that way. I thought my brothers will take care of my son. You know what I mean? So I think that's the reason why I had Jasmine first, probably. I think that's why God blessed me with a daughter first. And that's all I say about being a dad. You know, dad and the girls. So, you know, so that's what I got to say about that. So dad has saved my life. I can say that. Mm-hmm.
That's a good story, dog. I'm glad I got to hear that, John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe got you a little different.
You know, I'm happy go lucky until you try to threaten my life, then it's a wrap.
It's all good. What about you, Yusuf? I know you got daddy stories, brother.
Man, I don't know where to begin, man. You know, it's funny. I will say this. My dad is Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And, he raised us Muslim, man, and we which was a beautiful thing, man. Because if you look at Islam, you know what I mean, the way it should be taught, it's a religion, you know what I mean. So, but the funny thing was, growing up, my dad, like it seemed like our side of the family was more dark skinned, and my mom's side of the family, they were all real light skinned, right? Mm-hmm. Our side of the family, we had like real men, like, you know what I mean? There was men in our family. On my mom's side of the family, they ain't do like men stuff. Because like when I was like 12 years old, my mom's mom's mom, this dude attacked her, robbed her, and blacked both her eyes. My grandma had two big black eyes. My uncle side, they knew who did it. And I'm like, this dude started walking around here? I know if that was grandma on this side of the family.
You know what I'm saying?
We would have been right? This dude walked around. And Jackson had two black eyes. Between see Uncle Harold, my dad, you know what I mean, Nate, whoever, that boy was missing.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And I understand that, like, yo, like, I was what's wrong with these light skinned boys? They soft, like. You on this side, baby. I was like, yo, like men, who hear their business. But that kind of turned me off, man, towards light-skinned people and Christianity. Because I was seeing, to me, this wasn't adding up, man. But I just thank God for the village, man. I thank God for those uncles, you know what I mean? Yeah, I guess they dealt with things the way they thought it should be handled, whatever, legal way. And but I thank God for, like, for men and for older cousins, man, who I looked up to and admired and respected, man, like the twins, Andre and Aaron, like Nate, you know what I mean, who was like my hero, you know what I mean? Like, all you guys are my heroes, man, for real. Like, I'll get to all y'all, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was blessed to have that village, of men, you know what I mean, who I could look up to as a young man trying to find himself and growing up. You know what I mean? Even Joan, just, being a strong Black woman, in Christ, you know what I mean? Taking care of family, working for the government, doing her thing, you know what I mean? So examples for me to see and observe growing up. Uncle Dorsey working, Uncle Harold working, you know what I mean? People going to work, taking care of their families, people not being chumps, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's kind of like, he on this side, so he on that
side. You ain't got to worry about that. You like light skinned bitch shit, yo. Our light skinned boys fight harder than the dark skinned boys, yo.
Celebrate till February 14th. Them halfies. You know what I mean?
I take offense to that. Okay. Yeah, you forget I'm mixed too.
So what's your daddy life like, man? What's your daddy life like, man? Your father, you, what's it like, man? How's everything with you and your dad, man?
Talking to me? Yeah, man, it's good, man. I mean, we blessed, man. Two of my daughters are grown. And and the baby is 17 now. So, I feel like we did a good job with them, man. They, we got like 2 college grads, and not saying education is everything, but they follow.
It's a lot. It's a lot, man.
Yeah, they doing good, following a good path, man. I'm proud of them, and they real go-getters, man. So I think me and my wife did a good job because we both own businesses. I own a radio station. My wife owns her own business. It's like a social work business. So they've seen us being entrepreneurs, being business owners, being go-getters, and they go-getters, man. They go-getters, you know what I mean? So like, my middle daughter, man, my oldest daughter, she is like super smart. Like I got Abdul, they're just born like with a genius gene. They're just smart for no reason. God just gave them that.
Right.
So, so my oldest daughter, like, academics come easy because she just smart for no reason. That's the way God made her. But my middle daughter, she ain't had that. She like me. She got to work hard. She got to study harder. She got to go to Saturday school. But she worked so hard. She outworked my older daughter. She outworked her. Like she outworked everybody. So she ain't the smartest, whatever, but she gonna outwork you. She can get the top grade at class though. You know what I mean? So her work, her determination, man, I just admire her so much, man. And she's been through a lot. She's been through an abusive relationship in college, you know what I mean? So guess what? She graduated, she went back, she got her master's. You know what I mean? She's in London right now, studying abroad. Her last semester, she's doing it in London. I'm just proud of her, man, because she already got job offers.
Of course.
Accountant.
Yeah, good thing you know how to cook.
That again?
It's a good thing you know how to cook, because I heard that London food is nasty, yo.
And my older daughter went over there with her for a month, just to hang out with her for a month. Man, they love it because Mojo just came back like 2 days ago.
Okay.
Yo, his crime is very low, and they was like illegal knives, pepper spray, mace. You can't have none of that stuff. And it was like biggest crime they got to worry about over there is pickpockets. It was like, you know what I mean? It was like compared to Philadelphia, it was like, yo, it was like there's virtually no crime here. And like they was like people here, they scared of us. Like I'm like, you guys all right? Y'all way over there? They like, and then they said, everybody over there is skinny and frail. They don't eat. They was like, they scared of us. Ain't nobody messing with us over here. They black women, you know what I mean? They ain't no little skinny frail chicks. Like it's sweet over here. Or what? We're worried about pickpockets. What's that? Like, I mean, in Philadelphia, we have somebody get carjacked in Philadelphia every 6 hours.
Yeah,
we got more murders. There's days in the we had like almost 65 murders this year. It's only been like 45, 47 days.
Yeah.
Oh, and you got all these carjackings, home invasions, all this robberies, shootings, whatever. They like, you over here sipping tea, going to museums and, hanging out. And going to...
Well, they've been at it a lot longer than we have. We only been at it for a few hundred years. They've been at it for thousands of years. They had a lot of practice. Look at their history. Look at ours. They dealing with all kinds of crazy stuff.
They're tired.
And we're a product of them. So, you know what I'm saying? We young. We still young.
One of my friends said, she said, well, the queen sitting over here, the riffraff.
Our queen's a riffraff.
America, they said, the white people, that's the riffraff. They wasn't even one over there. I was like, what?
Well, it's true, though. People was escaping, or they were either escaping or they had to come here. They you know what I'm saying, to make a profit.
Watch it all. That's why I say our country was built on murderers, rapists, and thieves, and liars, all that kind of stuff. Molesters. That's how the country was born over here. None of them people was good people. That one.
We were born of the worst of the nobles.
Rejects.
The rejects, yo. They're like, I know a land where you can go because you ain't staying here.
Yeah. It was like Don waiting to say something down. He had that light skin. He wait. You can see it in his face.
All right, look, Don is the last one that didn't talk. That's still in the room. So, you know what I'm saying? You got anything to say, brother? You the sidekick. Oh, you know what? I could ask Nikki, but Nikki usually don't talk. I don't want to put too much pressure on her. She ain't raise her hand and say nothing. And that's okay, babe. We still love you. But if you want to say something, just turn your thing on and let us know. But Don, Casual Don, we are past the hour. So if you would like to do your wrap up, go right ahead, my brother.
First and foremost, I met my dad when I was 13 years old. He's whiter than me. So I didn't know it could happen. I didn't know it could happen. I was on my way to my grandmom's house, going up the stairwell on Broad and Allegheny, and he was coming down and he bumped me purposely. My mom, what happened was that my mom bumped into him while she was at work, and they had a conversation. And what happened was during that conversation, she told him about me. So again, she told him where I was going, where I was going to be at. So he waited on top of the stairwell, describe what I was wearing and everything. And if you ever see my dad, we're like a mirror image of each other, period. So he saw me. I didn't pay attention to him at all. So he came down the steps and he bumped into me. He's all, sorry, my fault. He's like, I'm sorry, son. And I was like, son. I looked at him. I was like, who are you? So we talked for like 5-10 minutes. I'm Preston. I'm your dad. So I was like, the fuck out of here. I ran up the steps. I got to grandma's house so fucking fast. It wasn't even funny, man. And, I called my mom and I was like, yo, some dude just bumped into me. So he was my dad. What's going on? And she's like, well, he is. And I was like, well, you ain't want to tell me nothing? What happened? You know, how it happened or nothing like that? So I stayed at grandma's house for like maybe another hour, talked to her and everything. Got back home and my mom was very vague about everything. I mean, vague. I mean, it was so vague, I stopped asking questions. Because it was like I wasn't getting an answer. I was just getting another runaround answer to another question. It didn't make any sense. So I asked her, well, how do you know he's my father? You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it was a different guy. You know what I'm saying? Kind of deal. And well, this happened and that happened and this happened and that happened and this happened. I was like, you know what? I'm 14. I'm too young for this. I don't want no more. I don't want to know anymore, right? So coming to find out, he ran a program for students that were parents, adolescent students that were parents, you know, had babies while still in school. He ran a program to where as though they could still come to school and get their high school diploma, and he provided daycare for them, so they could bring their children to school because nobody could watch them. That's a lot of teens had to quit high school to get a job, and they could no longer get a GED. You know, they get a GED later. So he made it so that they could still go to school and get their high school diploma so they get a GED. So our school was on the list. So I met him again walking down a hallway. Now, this man has a lot of pull in the city of Philadelphia school district. Everybody knows this man. I didn't know how powerful he was until the principal called me to his office and sat me down. And he came in the room and he explained, you know, his side. I listened and I apologized for my speech and my verbal. I said to him, you know, and we talked. And from that point on, I went to his house on the weekends sometimes. You know, we started, you know, getting a father-son bond. But he had so much going on because he also taught martial arts. So he was always traveling the country, all around the world. At any point in time, he could be in Australia. He could be anywhere at any point in time. So that was a strain because I was never invited. And couldn't I find out I was invited, but my mom always said no, he's not going. So I took it. I never knew that I was invited. I never, because he offered to buy my passport, my ticket, for me to experience these different things. But my mom, being Iris, no, he's not going. I don't know you. He don't know you. That kind of deal. So I thought that it was him rejecting me. So in the spirit of that, the contact pretty much got to the point where he was only calling me. And I gets tired of it after a while. So for 4 years, he was only calling me. So when I graduated high school, it was no relationship at all. And that's when Facebook came out. Facebook comes out, make my profile and everything. The first person that messaged me was him. A long message. Asked me what was going on. Why didn't I ever call him? And I told him, I ain't gotta give you no excuse. No answers, nothing like that. I said, what? Who are you? I said, you're never there for me. You know, and then the whole bit, I mean, he gave me a long paragraph. I mean, I gave him an even longer paragraph. You know, pretty much telling him to F off. Pretty much that's what it said. And my wife saw the message that he sent me and the message that I sent to him. My wife looked at it and said, you're wrong. I said, what? How? And she said, well, look for it from his perspective. I said, you need to talk to your mom and find out what really happened. So I talked to my mom and found out what really happened. I looked like a jerk, a straight up jerk. So I called him back. I actually called him. He left his message. He left his number in the message. So I actually called him. And he didn't pick up because he didn't know the number. He didn't know my number at all. So why would you pick up? You know, so he didn't pick up. So I ended up texting him back over Facebook, and I apologized. And I gave him my phone number to call me. And he said, I saw the number in my phone, but I didn't know who it was. So when we finally talked, he was crying the whole time. Literally crying the whole time. And it made me cry. So we talked for like a good 2 or 3 hours. You know, I told him everything that was going on. I told him about Jacqueline Damir. I'm married. You know, I live in Philly. At the time, he was living in Delaware. He's in Delaware. You know, so it was, you know, we talked for like a very long. Then we finally moved to Maryland, and we literally lived maybe 15 minutes from him. So he started coming through a lot. At that point in time, I didn't have my license yet, so I was working on that. So he came through a lot, you know. Saw him, met his grandchildren, you know, perfect. Everything was good. And our relationship has matured to the point where, but the thing about it is the acceptance from his side, though. It's his wife seems to think that I want something from him, and it's nothing like that. I never asked him for $1 or a penny, you know. But for some reason, it's like, what is he here for? What does he want from you? Kind of deal. I'm like, I didn't go looking for him. He came looking for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want nothing from him, but just a relationship.
Right.
And I don't gotta have one with you.
That's right.
I have one with him.
Yeah. Does she have kids by him?
Yes, she has 3.
That's what it's all about.
And that's how I took it. You know, again, but those 3 children that he has by her are takers, though. Except for the youngest isn't a taker. She's actually good on her own, but the other 2 are takers. You know, I'm his only son. He has 3 daughters. I'm his only son. You know, so and again, like and I say, they're takers though. I mean, I can't tell you how many times he told me, oh, this one called me and they wanted to borrow money, or this one called me wanting this, and this one called me to babysit that, and this one. I'm like, well, damn, Dad, you know, what do you get time for you? When can you have fun, you know, enjoying your life, you know, on your weekend, when your day is off, the weekends or whatever, you're either babysitting or driving up to help them do something. kind of deal. You know, and once he started to pull back from them, it was backlash to me, kind of deal. You know, I know me, I don't care. You know,
yeah, right.
I'm the darkest light skinned person you could possibly know. You know, I'm the hard NIGGA. You know, period. So I said I want all the smoke. I want the fuckery. I want all of it. Please bring it my way.
Bring it.
But it never happened. You know, I never met any of his daughters at all. The youngest one, I had a video call with her because he was over the house and he wanted to talk to her. I said, sure, go ahead, no problem. And she was a doll to talk to, wonderful to talk to. The other two, no, I don't know, but the youngest one was cool, chilling. Had her son right there say, hey, what's up to your uncle? He's like, what's up, uncle? I was like, nothing, just chilling. How you doing? You know, it was casual conversation. Like as if we knew each other for 40 years. You know, again, but the other two siblings, you know, I'm not gonna say I don't never want to have a conversation with them. I would love a conversation with them, but I don't care about the outcome. This almost there's an understanding, you know, that I have my own. You know what I'm saying? And again, I invite him to everything. Y'all been over, y'all seen him, you know. You know, I invite everybody to everything, and he comes to everything. No matter what it is or what, you know what I'm saying? Hey, as long as I let him give him enough time, he comes, you know, every time. And it's been the funniest thing in the world happened. We both bought our house the same month. Me and my wife, we closed on our house on December 10th. He closed on his house on December 29th. You know, so it's just crazy, you know. And again, he is a great guy, but he's always been taken advantage of. You know?
Yeah, I know about that.
Because of how great guy he is, you know. Same thing with I know Lindell's dad, you know. I you know, he taught me how to fish. Lindell's dad taught me how to go camping. I'm into those kind of things, but I married a city wife. So fishing is not ever going to happen. And camping is definitely not ever going to happen because all of the horror movies that we watch. You know, so Lindell's dad made me an outdoorsman, you know. I used to love going fishing with Lindell's dad. You know, we had a great relationship too as well. You know, I'm glad Lindell had a relationship with his dad. And I used to tell him all the time, I think you should go live with him. You know, when he was younger, I told him all the time, yo, you go live with him.
We all told him that.
Everybody told him that.
Yeah. I mean, you will experience something different than living here. You know, I tell him that all the time. I said, your dad is a good dude. You know, regardless of the relationship that him and our mom had, it has nothing to do with you. You know, his relationship with you is his relationship with you. Whatever he does with you is what counts. I mean, you're not. I mean, sometimes it's bad between the mother and the father. It's bad sometimes. So as long as he treats you the way he's supposed to be treating you, that's all should count. You know what I mean? And you know what my dad did. I mean, I can't tell you. Our youngest Jacqueline and Damir, he's done for their birthdays. He's done for Christmas. Never asked them for anything, but he always came through and said, "I got something for the boys." You know, I got something for this person. Never asked him for a dime. You know, like I remember when Jacqueline's 16th birthday. He came through. He wasn't even supposed to be there, actually. What happened was he hurt his wrist at work. He wasn't even supposed to be driving. And he came on through. You know, and again, he whenever you need him, he's there. Period. It doesn't matter what the situation is. And again, I took that as initiative because again, he didn't have to contact me at all. He could have been like, you know what, whatever it is, what it is, you know. But he was looking for me the whole time, and my mom refused to give him my number.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Same with me and my dad.
So from 18 up until 25, 7 years, he was just looking for me. And then Facebook came out and he knew my name and everything. He looked me up first. As soon as I made that account, he must be looking every single day. As soon as I made that account, instantly message. Like, yeah. And then again, me growing up, I had 4 uncles that I took a lot of stuff from. You know, my uncle Aaron, you know, he let me understand that it's all right to be you. You know, everybody else is taken, so be yourself. That's what he taught me. Everybody else is taken, so Don, you gotta be yourself. You know, Andre, you know, with work, you know, we work hard. This is what a man does. He goes to work, he comes home, you know. And I took that, but I went overboard with work, though, I'm not gonna lie. Because it was to the point where I was ready to lose my wife because I was at work all the time. You know, I was doing doubles and I didn't have to. I made more than enough money, but that was work. You know, and then Uncle Nate, you know, with all the household that Uncle Nate had was like, damn, family is important. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the dynamic I got from Uncle Nate. And Uncle Terry, you know, do everything he did do the opposite though. Uncle Terry did, you do the opposite. That's what I learned from Uncle Terry. You know what I mean? I didn't learn nothing else. I learned that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. But then, as far as me being a dad, this is like wow. You know, I came in Damir's life when he was 6, so I didn't. It was like to me, I didn't understand fatherhood, so I treated him like a little brother, kind of. You know. And then it then one day he came up to me. It was funny because I was sitting in the room, me and Trina was talking. He came up to me, it's like, hey, can I call you dad? And Trina was like, can we talk for a minute, Damir? I said, and I didn't say anything. And Trina looked at me and she asked Damir, can we talk for a minute? And I said, look, he can call me dad. It's not a problem. I'm not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So he started calling me dad. So I went on all his school trips. I spent a whole lot of time with him. It was to the point my wife was jealous. With him, you know, because our time, as I got to know Damir and be with him, being in the household, I said, look, I didn't have this growing up, so I gave him a lot of time. My wife was pretty much jealous, and then Jacqueline was born. It was oh man, it was all lost. It was a lose for her. Period. Because everywhere I went, Jacqueline or Damir was there. One of the or both or one or the other. Period. You know, so it was definitely important for me to be in both of their lives. And then, you know, but the only hard part I have to say is that now that, you know, they're older, they're forgetting who was there for them when they were younger. You know, I get on Jacqueline about calling y'all all the time. Call your goddaddy. See how you doing. Call your uncle. See how you doing. These people were there for you when you were a kid. You know, I understand you're 18, you got your own life, but don't forget about those, you know, who was there for you. You know, I keep telling them all the time, call them, see how they're doing, see what's up with them, you know. And again, 19, I understand.
Yeah.
Like,
he only got one thing on his mind. 19, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you right now, it ain't sex either, man. He works all the time, man.
Yeah, he works.
My son works all the time. I used
to tell him about working. Yeah, I used to tell him about working. Make sure you get the
job. Man. Again, Jacqueline didn't know me until he was almost 2 years old. I was a stranger in the house to him. He would never come to me, crawled and knock you in the crib, try to hold him, he would cry. Like, who the hell is this dude? Get this random sucker out this house. I don't know this guy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Jacqueline didn't know me until he was like around 2. And it's funny because once he knew who I was, I guess since he knew who I was, he never wanted to be anywhere without me. If I left the house, he was right behind me, grabbing my leg to come too. Like, it did not matter. Once he turned 2, from 2 up until like he turned 10, he was around me all the time, man. All the time. You know, Damir was cool up until he you know, smelt himself, you know. Jacqueline was same exact when he started smelling himself, the same exact thing. You know, then when I went through my cancer, my chemo and everything, it was really hard to see Jacqueline see me like that, you know. Because as a dad, you're always strong. You're Superman, you're masculine, you know, and you're tough. And then he saw me, he was like, damn, you know, my dad is weak and frail. he can't even go to the bathroom by himself. You know, it was instrumental to like his mental to a certain degree, to where as though I would fight asking anybody to do anything to that point. You know, this seems some kind of normality in my household. It was definitely hard during that chemo phase for him to see me that way. And then Damir, he didn't even want to see me at all. Like Damir didn't call. He didn't want to see me that way at all. And my wife used to tell me that he used to call her crying, asking how I was doing. She's like, well, call him, talk to him. He said, Mom, I can't see my dad like that. So it was to know that someone else, you know, the boys you see grow up loves you that much. It's astoundingly crazy, man. It's crazy, you know, being a dad and then having a dad. It's definitely different, you know, because again, having all four of y'all in my life and different gave me something different, and I honed on to that, you know. And I took what y'all gave me and made it mine, and then I instilled that into my children, you know. Try to, at least, you know. Again, sometimes they listen. That they'll do stuff, show me that they listen, and other times they'll be like, "Well, I didn't tell you to do that. What the hell you do that for?" You know. You know, but it's just them trying to find their way.
Find their way. That's it.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, but at the same time, it's weird, you know, seeing someone that you helped raise or grow up, and you see them as an adult, and all you see is that little child. You know, sometimes I look at Don Bean, I look at Jaquin, I'm like, both of y'all bastards are driving. Like, y'all on the road right now. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's trusting you with a car, a vehicle. You know the time they crashed their power wheels in my ankles, man. You know the times Jaquin was in that walker and he would run to the steps, I diving away and some shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the gate was the step gates was open or whatever. I was like, you are trusted with a vehicle. You.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Jaquin said, what's his name? He's 16 now. He got his permit. He said, stay off the road for the next couple of weeks, because if you want to live, you know what I mean? Josiah got his permit today.
Josiah is 16 years old?
Josiah is 16, man.
Yeah, I remember when he was like 7 when I met Josiah, man.
Yeah. Got a deep voice, too. Got a little deep voice, too.
Bro, he got a little kid, Simba voice no more?
Deep voice, too, yo.
Josiah had the most Simba voice you ever want to hear, man. I'm serious, man. Like, that's how Jaquin was, though. And Jaquin got a deep voice.
Yeah, that's Jaquin got, yeah. Yeah, daddy days, boy. Grandpa days,
Oh, man. Dang. All right, guys, look. We are a half hour past the hour.
Okay.
If anybody wants
we can go to about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to y'all. Look, I can go for another half hour, but I'm just saying, you know, we about to wrap up. but if anyone to talk about, if they missed something they want to talk about, get it out now. Let me know who. It's all. Go ahead.
I gotta shut him down. I gotta shut him down real quick. When I remember growing up, and I didn't have any. I lived in Greensboro, North Carolina. This is before Tony was even thought of. Sorry, Tony, you wouldn't even throw it up, man. Sorry.
I know I wasn't.
I was 9 or 10 years old, and I didn't have any clothes for school, and Uncle Andre had Grandma Jones send me all this stuff. I mean, all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
I never even met you. I talked to you on the phone, but never even met you. And then when we moved down back to Philadelphia, I remember Uncle Aaron took me out and said, "What do you want?" And he bought me a Game Gear. I was like, damn, you know. This is probably how a kid feels who has a father in his life. You know what I'm saying? Be able to get some things that he wants. It was crazy. And I remember Uncle Terry stole my batteries.
That
was my brother. Yo.
Let me tell you how I knew he stole my batteries. He said his batteries was dead in his Walkman, right? Because Grandma Joe bought me a Sony Walkman. So his batteries was dead. I gotta get some batteries, dang. And Uncle Aaron bought me Michael Jackson Thriller, the tape. So I'm listening to the tape, I'm jigging like shit. I put my Walkman down to go to the bathroom. I come back out in the hallway. I'm like, yo, this Thriller tape is crazy. I put the earphones back on. I hit play. It was like, I hit stop. I hit play again. And I noticed that it was kind of light. That was heavy. I opened the back up. I'm like, yo, where my batteries go? Terry looked at me like, I don't know, man. He over here digging.
My brother was the thief of thieves, yo. There was nothing safe around that brother, yo.
Around him. Yeah, but I remember Don, you was real small when you was around me and Aaron. You was like 2 and 4. And then that's when Iris took you down to Greensboro. So you probably didn't remember us too much back then. Because he used to punch us in the face to wake us up. Yeah, Don. Yeah, slick old Don. He used to punch us in the face to wake us up because he was getting away with stuff. Especially with grandma, mom, you know what I mean? Grandma.
So that was Nate. His uncle Nate taught him that crap.
Oh, yeah.
Bam.
You know, told him all that evil stuff. And me and Aaron set him up. We set him up.
Evil stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I'll show that Uncle Aaron was the worst uncle ever when he lived with us. When he told my mom that I took a piss outside, I was like, yo, you are evil. Evil. He was like, no, I'm gonna beat you.
What's wrong with being outside?
He didn't just take a piss outside. He took a piss. They lived like in a it was called his project in Greensboro. And you know how projects, all the houses are connected up. He took a piss on someone's house, yo. He was out there. I was like, yo.
I did it right in it. The worst part about it, I did it right in front of my house. He came outside like, what the fuck you doing? What did you do? You taking a piss? Come on in the house. Come on in the house. Yeah, I ain't gonna beat you. I ain't gonna touch you. I'm gonna tell Iris. I sat there with the worry of, and he asked me, he said, what the hell was wrong? Why did you do that? That's the first thing that came in my mind was, just say this, Don. You're gonna get it, you'll be good. The devil made me do.
My whole spirit. I was curious up until that time. When he said that, it changed my whole. I just wanted to kill him. I said, you know what? I'm like, Iris take care of this, yo.
David told me that I was cracking up.
Like, man, you gotta go, man.
Yeah.
But the worst part about it, Yusuf, is that when I went, my house was 10 feet away.
Yeah, he was right next to the house.
Oh man!
So
somebody bound to see you.
I had no excuse. I had no excuse not to go to my house and go pig. No excuse.
Right.
You was the last one, man. You're gonna be the last ones. You had something to say, and you got, I'm gonna put you on the spotlight so your brother won't take over. Go ahead, man.
You already know them my light skins. But anywho, I was gonna say, I forgot to put David into this situation, despite him and what my mom had went through. David took me a whole lot, because David was actually cool. He kind of how Don was towards Damir. David treated me with the utmost respect. He treated me like he basically treated me as I was his son, basically. And it hurts me to this day, to a point where that we don't talk. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know where he at. I don't know if he still want to have a relationship with me, because what my mom told me, he went back on those drugs. So I don't know where he at, what's going on with him.
Yeah.
So that also hurts me too. So I try not to talk about him too much because that's one of the sentimental subjects. But he also taught me that you don't have to be somebody's blood to treat them as their own, basically. So he taught me that to a point where my daughter's brother, I became that towards him. So he gave me a chance to actually understand fatherhood and to understand how to treat a child. It was through him. And besides, Uncle Aaron cursing me out every chance he got because I pissed him off.
Do some worthy of curse out shit, yo.
No, but he
earned them.
But Aaron, he cursed you out and he do the head, John. He do this. Say something, motherfucker, okay? or he do the whole. What are you doing? Get your ass downstairs. If he gave you advice, which I always do, he do the exact same thing. He play something. He play about the damn motherfucking feet, okay?
I'll take you off the damn spotlight. We ain't close.
Put him back.
But yeah, he also was Uncle Aaron's also like a father figure towards me too, because I always wanted to be around him. Despite Uncle Andre, I was around him too, but I was always around Uncle Aaron more.
Yeah,
so Uncle Aaron's also a father role model towards me too. You know, he was funny. I always wanted him to just to hear him curse. I always wanted him just to hear him just curse me out because it was fun.
I don't know why the kids like hearing me curse, man. They love that shit, yo.
It's Aaron all the time.
Because nobody else is cursing. You is the only one. I don't give a fuck. So Uncle Aaron, when he took me fishing, Uncle Aaron took me a whole lot. He took me
drugs, yo. Okay, to change your life.
I didn't even know that you was on that.
Yeah,
Aaron took me a lot.
When I was on that, I tried to make sure the kids ain't no shit, yo. I didn't want y'all to know. I didn't want that to be any part of your existence, yo. Not one part, not one thread. In fact, I'm gonna be real honest. Like I was ashamed of a lot of being a drug addict. You know what I mean? When it came to the kids, I was really ashamed of that because it took me away from y'all. You know, I knew I couldn't really be around you. You know what I mean? So, you know, I apologize for that part, but, you know, we all have our demons we have to fight, man. We all have.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you don't have to be a drug addict to be a whole ass, yo.
You know? Even when you didn't want me to be around, I was still around. Yeah, I knew what you was doing. I knew you was doing the. All right, I'll pick you up. Shit. All right, I'm already ready.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, damn, I remember the phone would ring. I was like, oh shit, I can't. No, you know, I know his life. I got to pick up the damn phone.
Yeah, I knew you was doing that. I'm like, can I come over?
I want to come by. All right.
So I get on his nerve.
I just felt like I had to. I felt like I had, if my nephews or nieces needed me, I felt like I had to be there no matter what was going on in my life. That's the one thing I did because, you know, I didn't have a father, so I felt like, I can't be a dad, but I could be a cool ass uncle, man. You know what I mean?
Technically, you wasn't just a cool uncle. You was also another father role model. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate, man.
So,
I appreciate.
If I had to put you in there, Uncle Andre was always at war or work, so I never really got to see him.
It's crazy that that's not a lie.
Weekend Warrior. Yeah.
Only time I really got to see him was when we were staying with him. That's the only time. Otherwise than that, he was work. Work. Like, is he ever home? Hey, little one.
Hey, the baby. What's up, baby? All right, y'all. I'm about to wrap it up, y'all. It's like it's almost 2 hours, y'all. So I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank everybody for their stories and their experiences. And I'm grateful, man. I get to see my fam twice a week, yo. I am grateful. There was a time when we wouldn't see each other for years. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I'm thankful for you. Okay, ready to come by and everybody wave each other out.
Love y'all. Love y'all much.
All right.
All right.
All right, Tom.
Hello.